welcome. I say welcome to BlackLit Durham. How are you guys doing today? Doing good? Okay, we have no much. Come on, man. Okay, where are you guys from? Jamaica? Which part do you come from? Everybody quiet? No, this can't be. Anyways, my name is Judith Shaw, and I am your MC for tonight. Thank you. And before we start, we have a tradition that we share the Afrocentric land acknowledgement. So, here goes. As people of African descent, we offer this land recognition in solidarity with the indigenous peoples of Turtle Island in the efforts and deliberate intention towards decolonization. We acknowledge the land of Turtle Island, that it was never meant to be owned. We recognize that most of the land that was entrusted to the indigenous peoples was in some case shared by choice, but all too often by force. We recognize the historical and ongoing colonialism that has led to the present day situation where land acknowledgements are offered in place of land. As people of African descent, many of us come here by choice, while many are here as a result of historical force. We acknowledge the complexities where we were promised land that was never given by those whose never was to be given. As people of African descent, we acknowledge the land of Turtle Island that sustain us, express deep gratitude to its indigenous peoples, and pledge to honor our dignity and divinity that ultimately connects us all. And now we will do the Black National Anthem. So can we all stand?
Every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you. You can all have a seat. And this week, theme is Spring Forward. Yes, spring forward, whatever that means to you. So I'm going to put a little something together. I'm going to figure say, spring forward to create new adventure. Bringing something fresh and new in our life. Smell the roses and yam your cake and bake your cake and yam it too. Okay? Spring forward with your soul picking at your afro and let the gray hair glitter. So you think about it. How are you going to spring forward? So that is the theme for today. And we're going to start the open mic. First, we have this beautiful, talented, Black gifted woman by the name of D Artist. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tessa Strawn, and I was born in a land called Grenada. I'm new to this, so please have patience with me. Grandmother, oh, Mama, grandmother, oh. My grandmother name was Evelyn Jeremiah. Was born in a place named Davie in St. Patrick in beautiful Grenada. Yes, that was my grandmother. My grandmother, Evelyn, used to help the people in her community, especially the women, when they were in labor to have their babies. My grandmother, Evelyn, was my mother's maid wife. She was the first one who saw me. Look at me. Who held me. Yes, she did. Named me, cut me navel string, and buried it underneath a mango tree. Yes, that was my grandmother. My grandmother, Evelyn, used to make the best bread in Sautez. She used to sell it for the people. They used to call it Miss Evelyn bread. I used to wake up to the smell of the fresh bread, the cocoa tea and the bush tea. Yes, my grandmother, Evelyn, used to wake up 4 morning and go to the bushery, all tittery, wash clothes, while we bathe in the river and suck mango. Yes, that was my grandmother. My grandmother, Evelyn, used to speak patois. My grandmother, Evelyn, even used to say things like, one day, Congo te. Capo smoke your pipe. Kote si kote la. Bonje, Papa God. Yes, my grandmother, Evelyn, taught me how to kneel and pray. Used to take me to church on a Sunday. Yes, that was my grandmother. Grandmother, oh, Mama, grandmother, oh. My grandmother, Evelyn, used to sell gravels, stones, and coals so she could make money, so she could feed her family. Yes, my grandmother, Evelyn, and my mother, and my family in St. Patrick in beautiful Grenada helped shape me for the woman that I am today. So my question to you is, who shaped you? And what is a grandmother's prayer? Yes, thank you. Grandmother, oh, Mama, grandmother, oh. To all the grandmothers we have lost, and to all the grandmothers who are still here doing the job of a mother, we say thank you. Grandmother, oh, Mama, grandmother, oh. Thank you.
grandmother, oh, grandma, oh. Wow. Wow, that was wonderful. That was powerhouse. Powerhouse. Beautiful, the artist. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing your gift with us today. And the next open mic is Devon. Davon. Yeah, come on. Big up Davon.
How's everyone doing? I'm good, thank you. Thank you for asking. Can we give it up one more time for D Artist? That was amazing. That was amazing. I'm touched. What I'm going to do on stage right now, I'm not sure yet. I just put my name on the list and we're gonna see what happens. But I did say, there was one time I did an improv night and I went on stage and apparently I did a good job. People were happy with the performance and I promised to someone, or I don't like promises, but I said to them that I'll never pass up another opportunity to get on stage if I'm in the area and it presents itself. So here we are. This is a song that I wrote, I don't know, one of my first songs that I wrote. We'll see how it connects, but springing forward, I feel like there's some kind of connection with this song that I wrote a long time ago that feels refreshing and new. When I heard it recently, it still felt like it connected to who I was and where I was going. It was inspirational to me. So it was called Everything Has Steps. Inspired by the sound in a beat. Then I round up the words from the grounds of my mind, redesign and align, fit the body, make the spine of the song from what started as a poem, but the phloem took it everywhere. Show 'em I never tear apart, even when I'm scared. Pain is bared, grisly in the great part of my life, despite all the pressure. Taking notes in this lecture, I bet you never thought it would come to these kind of measures. Mix pleasure with your business on breakaways with no finish. To win this, don't make excuses, just shut up, make it happen. 18 years and I'm still laughing. Laughing keep me from a place of mourning. A warning from the wise, open your eyes and rise above. Coping with lies, disguise the love and make you think it don't exist. Put blade to wrist, a twist, couldn't do it, that's my tempo. So I write, massage the mental, on a flight, quite suspenseful, resentful and on my ways. Repentful, the Lord I praise. The haze, I light it up. Until I feel like the slave, then wave those days goodbye. Let intellect be my high. The sky is but a place, and beyond it lies more space. A taste of what's achievable. Big or small, that's believable. Conceivable ideas from dreams thought to be impossible. Could care less if I blow up. I'll show up and let you know it's real. Blow up, hit the Achilles heel, and process it begins. And so I toss up all my sins and knock them out of the park. People dying to make a mark or spark the inch or rust. They're into us already, so just do you. Quit talking all that foo-foo lame and use your brain. Gain decimals to leverage your way out of the chain. Change the values in life and value the strife and pain. Not for physical, of course, but for the lessons you obtain. Remain the same you. Maintain when fame do what it do. Get off the pedestal. Had no clue. Achoo. Bless.
Wow, the amazing talents we have. The amazing talents we have. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And we have another open mic. His name is Dwayne Hopkins. Eli, but no, I mess up people's name all the time, sorry. But Eli Coxman.
All right. Hello, everybody. I wrote this over 10 years ago while I was living somewhere else in a different mind space. And I call this mental lovemaking. I look at you and I know I want it. Thoughts of undressing you verbally hit me. consensually invading your mind. The coxman rushes you. Now, there is no escape. Like a black panther, I lick my lips slowly and softly. I have spotted my prey. My eyes fixed on the target. I cannot help but moisten my lips again. I want to taste you, but I also want you to suck on my dialect. Please allow me to fill you up with my head. Let me freak you with cunning linguistics. Let me move this highly mobile muscular organ that is vital for the function of both speech and taste in ways that you've never experienced, all over your spirit. And let me eat you up from the outside, starting at the top, and hopefully allow me to work my way down to your core. I see your heart beating from right here. At a distance, like a black panther in heat, I want to see my reflection in your eyes. I want to feel your heartbeat against mine. I want you. This dire need to puncture you with steady punctuation verbs touching your every curve has got my mouth constantly filling with saliva and moving towards you. Tongue and lips gyrating in unison, creating steady vibrations in hope to penetrate your ear canal, biting on your soul, slowly feeding you my thought, orgasmic mental explosions. My intention is to grab you and hold you close, look at you in your face, wanting you to watch me, feeling you, feeling me. My only request, please, let me enter you. Please let me come inside you so I can ejaculate these words all over your soul. And I promise you will want to spread your cheeks wide apart and smile, gratefully showing acknowledgement for this long diction that I have leaked all over your being. Coxman.
That's the beauty of poetry. You can twist it, turn it, make it your own. Word play with it. You toss it, you throw it, and it's yours. The beauty of poetry. When it comes to promoting my own self, I'm a bit shy, but I can't promote anybody else. But tonight, I have to tell you, I did write my first poetry book. It is in publication right now. And I want to give you a little piece of it, just be a little promotion, okay? It's called Savoring Verses, a Jamaican childhood recollection. That's the name of my book. So here's one of the poems. Dirty Gal. Remember this. Memories don't leave like people do. So I always remember you. With your tomato sauce pasty self, I chew a stone like only sardine pack up in a can. And when you check it out, you are tin mackerel, pack up in a can too. So dirty girl, go on with your fishy self. My grandmother always tell me, say, if you want to get rid of any dirty girl fishiness, just add a piece of Scotch bonnet pepper, thyme, scallion, and onion in a hot pot of cooking oil. Dirty girl will simmer down just right. Remember to sprinkle a little black pepper too. And my child, never forget to squeeze little lime. So dirty girl, tin mackerel in a tomato sauce. My grandmother give me the right remedy if to rustle you up at any time me feel like, with dumplings and a nice steam of white rice. So everybody know what dirty girl is, right? So So that's one of the poems from my books. I try to make it very fun and excited, okay? Turn a little twist. Okay, so now the big show start. We have a beautiful, talented, gifted poet. Her name is Tracy Francis John, otherwise known as Poet TracyJ. She is a Grenadian-born, Durham-based spoken word artist. Enough talent living at Durham, enough talent. She projects her personal experiences into poetry and uses her writing as a safe haven and healing place for herself and for others. Our poetry explores love, mental health, women's empowerment, and life mysteries, offering healing and connection. TracyJ has performed her work on various stages, my dear, plenty of them, including churches, corporate audience, local municipal gatherings, community. I say the list going on and on and on. I say every year she have this thing called I Am Woman. I am enough. Showcase each March celebrating woman. So, I beg you know, when you and them tired, I want to take them out of the pocket, okay, from Anna on a cheer. I want uno for clap on a hands as TracyJ come on the stage. Let's go, bring her on. Woo! Woo! Big her up. Oh, no, nah, gonna regret this. You guys, she's gonna leave you guys in awe.
Thank you, Judith. What an introduction. It's so great to be here. How's everyone doing? Good. Happy National Poetry Month. Y'all know it's Poetry Month? Yeah? Spring forward. I'm going to get right into the pieces. This first poem is called Change. It's one of the very, very, very first poems that I wrote, and it meant so much to me. It really helped me in different areas of my life when I was trying to move from, certain challenges that I had in my life. So it coincides with our theme, Spring Forward. It's called Change, and here it goes. Some will say you've changed. They'll say you switch up the game. They'll say you're no longer the same. I've had to change. See, I found my purpose. I had a one-on-one conversation with the universe. We talked, we cried, we laughed, we danced. I was told it's time for me to take a stance. I was told that I am the sun and I must rise on days even when I don't feel like it. I was told that I am the moon, and when darkness thinks it overshadows me, I'll be awarded with space to shine even more brightly. See, I like to call myself a light, because I illuminate pathways with my word one at a time. Time I've learned should never be wasted, so I've learned to love each moment that I live in. Because moment is time, and time is the only thing that proves we're existing. So yes, I've changed. And if you don't believe me, ask the ground that I walk on. I say, ask the ground that I walk on. It filled its streams with the tears that I cried from the times I thought no one cared. Ask the ground that I walk on. It birthed earthquakes from my fears and my many failed attempts from the times I jumped trying to reach for the sky. You still don't believe me? Ask the ground that I walk on. Crystals were formed from the shape of my knees. When I couldn't stand, I had burdens so heavy my feet couldn't carry me. So yes, I've changed. Yes, I switched up the game, and yes, I am no longer the same. But I'm not sorry I changed. It's now time for them to get to know me all over again. It's now time for them to taste the nectar from this brand new flower again. It's now time for them to get to know this new currency of confidence that I now spend. I'm not sorry I changed, and neither should you. Be sorry for those who go through life choosing to stay the same. Thank you. So I'm going to move on into the second piece here. It's called, it's a poem that I wrote in honor of Poetry Month. I wrote that poem last year, and it's called First Language. Whenever I am asked the question, what is my first language? There's a long, uncomfortable pause. As if I do not know English was never a daughter to my mother tongue, never belonged to my palates or to my taste buds. It is no wonder I was never much a talker. I was labeled shy, quiet. See, English never felt like truth on my tongue. A tall tale, very much like the one that I told myself about who I was and who I should become. Tall tale that instilled fear within me. It was not too long ago I learned that freedom is only one step away from fear, so I climbed fear like mountains in the Himalayas. Mount Everest knows my shoe size. Layers of self-sabotage were added that no amount of math could solve until I stopped calculating my life by the formula of others, until I stopped telling myself lies. Like free spirit, like wanderer on the way of the path ahead, head on I tread to become something I am not, but something I should be, something I'm destined to be. See, destiny does not respect our goals. Destiny does not respect our plans. When destiny shows up, it is loud, it is bold, and in no uncertain terms it says, I am here now, choose me. How dare you reject your calling? How dare I reject my calling? See, never did I choose to be a poet. I did not choose poetry. Poetry chose me. These words that I tell, I do not write these words. These words, they write me. These words feel like first language on my tongue, easy to swallow, easy to bellow. Everything aside from poetry for me is water under the bridge. But poetry laid its body down for me as my crosswalk, as my bridge to better, as my gateway to greatness, as my sacred bed to nest, to rest, to pause. Poetry took up its rightful place in me, and it settled gently on my tongue like first language. So whenever I am asked the question, what is my first language? The answer will always be poetry. It is language my ancestors gifted to me. Thank you. Do I have permission to go on? Okay. I want to make sure. And thank you so much for the energy. You know, artists and entertainers, we get our energy from the crowd, right? So we feed off of you. So I look at your faces, and I look at your smiles and your snaps, and that energy comes to me or to whoever is standing on the stage. So thank you so much. You did it for the open micers, Tessa and Eli and Devon. Thank you so much. And you know, I really, really do appreciate you in the audience, your presence here tonight, and the way you are throwing your energy, your positive energy to us. It's really appreciated. This poem is called A Work of Art. One of my very favorite poems, one of my most requested poems. And I am a work of art. I catwalk this life like I only got light, no dark. I exit my body and I model my way into hearts. See, I like to be called fashion. Fashion is one of the purest forms of self-expression. It's where you take your thoughts from within, then you wear them outside like models do on their skin or hair. You can be anything in this life if you dress right. So today, I want you to strip off the train of self-doubt that often follows you. I want you to sew your faith into a gown and wear it proudly as you do your crown. See me, I'm done away with stilettos. I wear 4-inch block heels because I need something sturdy enough to carry my dream. I'm going all in. Inside me, a fashion show is happening. Show-stopping changes, rearrangements, transformations, a new trend in fashion. I'm about to wear my confidence on my sleeves. My manifestations will start happening as often as I wear my jeans. And my waist bids have become the circle of trust that I was forced to develop. Because I've learned that not every backstab means you have to stab back. Sometimes you have to confront and take it from the front. See, just like our clothes, lint from this dusty world will often try to eat away from this very heart of this fabric, making it look dull. But we must rewash, we must reconstruct, we must upcycle this fabric of us if we must. What I'm trying to say here is that no matter what happens to us, between us, among us, we cannot give up. Strength is the foundation of the thread that keeps on sewing us together, never to stop. Twice. That's the number of times I look at myself early morning in the mirror and I wonder who I am. And believe me, I often have to write myself a poem to truly understand my worth. And the poems sometimes go like this. You are a well-crafted garment. You are strategically designed. You are evenly stitched with construction so refined. I tell myself I'm fine diamond, but I don't need the pressure. But if ever I trip, slip, and fall in this runway called life, I promise to get back up with my back up. I promise to stand tall. See, where there's a will, there will be a way. It's not the life, it's the lesson. It's what we have, not what we're missing. We tread on life's hard surfaces so often that they become tender enough for us to sink in. Listen, we will always become what we're doing. If you're a model, you'll become the stage. Writers will become the page. Singers will become the song. And poets, you will become your poems. Be a work of art. Catwalk this life like you only got light, no dark. Exit your body and model your way into someone's heart. Thank you. How are we doing for time? One more? Let's make a toast. I want to make a toast to the God above and the God within me. I want to toast to the village that have raised and continue to raise me. I want to toast to my art, poetry, for giving me the ability to make my words dance effortlessly off the palates of my tongue. See, poetry chose me as its home, but never its resting place, because this art was not made to rest. This art was made to step out and to take up space. Space I've never really taken up much of. After all, I'm 2 sizes up from a 0. That's a size 4. But that's not the space I'm talking about, so let's get back to the poem. Space I've never really taken up much of. I've always stood back when I knew I was designed for the front. I've always stood down when I knew I was designed to defy gravity, to search within the universe for the best version of me. Sometimes I long for an out-of-body experience, one where I can sit with the audience and listen to my own words. See, I want to feel the joy that I give to others too. I want to feel stars and all its constellations too. I plan to rebirth myself from a noun into a verb because I'm all actions and not just words. I say I want to rebirth myself from a noun into a verb, be all actions and not just words. Stay high on my intentions, learn to become the calm to my own storm, be a comfort but never a comfort zone, because great things never ever happen in the comfort zone. I've learned to surround myself with the people that I call home, because home, they say, is where the heart is, but it's also where your art lives. Poetry chose me as its home, but never its resting place. Because this art, it was not made to rest. Thank you.
He deserves it. Great things never happen in the comfort zone. You know, so I'm nervous right now. I stand up right here, so. Tell you, great things never happen in the comfort zone. That's why you got to spring. Amen. Wanna never love her. Wanna never love her. Yes. Wonderful. Wasn't she great? Well, could I have more of her, eh? But we have to go introduce one more person. But it is my pleasure, an absolute pleasure. When I can't find it, I want to put it. Lord have mercy, everything turned upside down for me, Lord. He is the founder, CEO, the brain, the creator behind BlackLit Durham. It is him, that's why I'm standing here. So I have to introduce him. I wish I could have sing. I wish I could have played the drum. With a try, but anyways. Greg Gray. Everybody know him as Greg Frankson. He's a Toronto-based educator, consultant, public speaker, an award-winning literature, artist. He's just big and broad and large. And him edit and him contribute to all kind of acclaim. He's the writer behind African Thology, Perspective of Black Canadian Poets. If you don't have that book, you don't have to get it. I'm not lying. It is an amazing book that celebrates Black artists in Canada. You guys have to get that book. He previously was the poet laureate of the International for Mental Health Leadership and resident poet on CBC Radio. Once, Here, and Now, Toronto. His writing have appeared in numerous literature, digital and journalist publications. Greg's first book of creative nonfiction, Alphabet Soup, a memoir in letters, was released by Dunborn. I saw a Dunborn. Yeah, it's like, God, no. Dunjum Press in January. Let me tell you, he's one talented human being. And it is my pleasure to be the MC here tonight, because he asked me to do it. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I am honored to welcome Mr. Gregory Frankson to the stage. Big him up, big him up.
Oh, wow. Hey, everybody, how's it going? What's a way this girl can, like, make me blush as I'm sitting here and, like, big iron bra? I'm like, excuse me? Lord have mercy. I mean, geez. First of all, let's make some noise for Judith. She's doing a great job as the host, first of all. So let's do that. And then let's show a little bit more love to TracyJ, because she just got up here Like, she just kind of murked the mic, and now I got to follow that. So thanks. I appreciate that. You know, left the stage hot, but so hot that I might melt in the pool of lava that you left behind. That's how hot it is. I really appreciate you, Tracy, and I'm so glad you're able to join us today. So I usually host the show, right? And it's an unusual situation where I get to be in this position as one of the featured writers. And so I just want to acknowledge that this stage has been a place where we have had incredible artists that are based here in Durham region and across the GTA who have come to share their words and their work with folks in this community, because this community called out after we had our show in June 2022 for Africa Anthology and said, we need to have more of this. We need to have more opportunities for folks to get together and honor and amplify Black voices. And because we do this, you all are able to be here, and because you are here, we are able to do this. So thank you, and appreciate you taking the time and sharing your energy, your desire, your passion to make these kinds of events possible. So enough about that. I'm going to get straight into it. I'll begin with a short prayer, one that I wrote for the youth of African descent. It's called Fortitude Prayer. It's a poem. It's National Poetry Month. I'm a poet. I'm going to do some poetry. Okay. The poem goes like this. My body is a temple that I honor with respect and treat like a blessing from above. My mind is the power and foundation I set, made of strength, intelligence, and love. My life is like a canvas my experiences paint, a work of art I'm proud to display. My soul is God's gift that he bestows without restraint and guides my heart through each day. Lord, grant us the wisdom, fidelity, and pride to clear our own paths to the light. And may we reach our goals with our people in stride who keep the same vision in sight. For when I'm at the mountaintop, the vista is clear, and Africa calls out its refrain. God grant our great people elevation over fear and the unity to reign once again. Thank you. Thank you. And I think part of that process of finding that unity, of finding the strength, the internal and community-based strength to do what we need to do, comes from us being able to share our words. And so we've been blessed. We've had these wonderful open micers. We had Tracy, we had Judith, and now I'm going to share mine, some of which are contained in this cute little purse-sized book. Ladies, it's purse-sized. It's easy to carry. And it's called Alphabet Soup, a memoir in letters. It is a uniquely formulated, experimental kind of book. Essentially, in a nutshell, it is 26 letters, one written and addressed to each letter of the alphabet, and they show up in randomized order in the book. Alphabet Soup. And it's written in poetic prose and speaks to the different people, experiences, situations, and life lessons that I've accumulated over the years based on interactions that are good, bad, and ugly. And so I'm just going to read a couple of excerpts from the book, and I hope that as you hear these words that you can identify within it yourself things that may have happened in your own world that those words in this book are speaking to. Because they are written about my personal experiences, but I've tried to craft them in such a way that others can see the universal in those specific observations. And so I'd like to read from 3 of the letters. The first one that I'm going to read from is the letter A. The letter A shows up about 2/3 of the way through the book. So that's how you know. This is not in order. It's not in order at all, okay? And each letter has a theme. Some letters have 2 themes. So the letter A is one of the 2 or 3 letters in the book that has 2 themes. Anger and anxiety are the 2 themes of this letter. I'm going to read for you from the anger section of the letter. Anger. 1, a feeling of displeasure resulting from injury, mistreatment, opposition, etc., and usually showing itself in a desire to fight back at the supposed cause of this feeling. 2, pain or trouble. Like a popular podcast, where should we begin? Recall our genesis, where the world first presented itself with antiseptic brightness in a sterile environment and then failed to turn off the spotlight. For decades, excessive luminosity burns. Learning to live incandescently can leave one permanently on the spot, light in the pocket. Book a bankrupting one-way trip while wrapped in dermal organ overbaked to a crisp, the epitome of pain. Full of hypocrisy and deception, betrayal and mendacity, a frustration that marks like a mangled tattoo and is just as aggravating to look at day after day after day. We carry the burdens of initial resentments baked into the 8 digits daubed onto a tiny slip of blue government-issued paper. It was almost as if the commencement of our existence was a smear that defiled the very face of civilization. Black gobs and speckles flung against the white picket fence leave those standing guard patterned with Dalmatian ambiguity. To be seen in such a state is internally conflicting. To live as a fence is to plant yourself firmly in place and fail to move forth. To live as the paint reflects creativity in full flight. Movement and inertia, forward progress violently interrupted by the rigidly immobile. To accept both as equally valid requires challenging the post's position while encouraging the paint to make the best of where it finds itself. For half a millennium, the detritus from these front yard collisions built up within the paint bucket in unseen spirals that were passed from parent to child, like Jamaican relay teams passing the baton. While we claim victory within the races, others berate us for proudly crossing the line. We've managed to perfect the Pyrrhic with disturbing efficiency, running away from shotgun blasts, working together to come out ahead, claiming the laurels with an entertainer's flair, only to have Olympic-sized successes disparaged and denigrated. We are the black licorice of Candyland, flavor-filled nightmares, our raciness expectorated like chewed-up tobacco juice, not to everyone's taste. Even in the areas where we dominate, the time is nigh for reversal. Ah, well, it's been a good run. So that's just one kind of flavor. So there's different energies in all of these different letters. And so that one is sort of more reflective. And the next one I'm going to read from is the letter R, which is more about reminiscence, about hard memories and refreshing one's mind about them. And so this letter, letter R, the theme is respect and regret. And I'm going to read from you respect. The definition for respect is real long, so I'm going to skip it this time. But I will read from the letter. Yeah, man, you can read the whole definition when you go outside and see the people from Blue Heron Books and buy a copy of the book. And then after I sign it, you can have a little read through, all right? So you can come back and refresh. Excellent. And you know, refresh also starts with R. Bro. Okay, here we go. 1. Tell me, what has it been like on the other side, veiled from view, eternally untouched by terrestrial testing, specters beyond inquisition, spectators beyond watching? I do not even remember how to approach you anymore. There was only one way for my family to do it before. Long red ribbons tied across a big smoke under temperate skies, fueled by the glare of a red rocket's mechanized eye, lamps to see our way west. I was a young man, perhaps too young to claim the title of man, an isle of robbed youth. Life moved fast, so quickly that in the hearts and bodies of some of my compatriots, it barely had time to claim citizenship before asylum turned to internment to a one-way trip across the veil. Somehow, in my stumbling, I avoided the grasp, reaping sown seeds planted in blackness. With so little light, it's amazing how any managed to sprout. Snap from reverie to exchange one red ribbon for another, mapped out cross-stitching of nearly impoverished fabrics socially cohered from there to here, I allowed myself to be guided down rear steps to ground level, bust from gut of asphalt-guided wagon to perch on paved platforms. Walked alongside, flowed with mass at volume, high density of barely not poor and nearly broke that babbled into underground caverns. Emergence sees means of movement meet in the many at 3 to 5 minute intervals in transit gents with command of conveyance, whistles in mouths, referees of our mobility. 2 blasts, and we take flight to find a Finch at north end of rail ribbon, departed from Eglinton in the city of Eggleton, conveyance of ancient carriage elevated to modern art form. Long stretches with short stops at midsection of run from home to lands fouled by the unfair who learned to live on steals and wild pitches while avoiding double plays. It was upon such base paths that I would eventually arrive safe, running through to ensure I'd find you there in that place with a smile on your face upon greeting mine. I can barely find you now in my mind's eye, shimmering specter, the completeness of your features nearly washed away by the decades. Despite the difficulty of re-rendering your presence in its fullness seated at my side, the banquet of your love has never ended for me. Your eternally childlike grin lights up my remembrances like a freshly illuminated hall in the newest moments before it was prepped for the feasting. You will not, cannot, have never, will not ever age. I must pause, tear blinks. We were so young. Deep breaths. And there is so much more to discover within the pages of this book, so you can go and claim your copy. I'm very excited to share it with the world. Published through Rare Machines, which is an imprint of Dundurn Press, one of Canada's largest independent imprints, and I'm super proud and pleased to have the opportunity to share these words with others. The book starts with the letter I, because I believe any memoir should begin with a reflection of the self. And when I decided which order the letters would appear in, I took the letters A to Z, stuck them into random.org, and hit randomize until I got the first series of letters that had I as the first letter. And that is the order in which the letters appear in this book. And so it is because of that randomization that the final letter in the book is the letter G. And the theme that I chose for the letter G is gratitude. And so I want to end on an uplifting, gratified kind of an energy. And so I will read a bit of this letter as well. You are the unexpected blessings in a world that treats me as darkly as the continent of our ancestry. You, blessed with the melanated misunderstanding that is bred into our skin without an ounce of compassion for our wish to be seen as human and not as a color, must find your own way through the labyrinth, march boldly forward. The light that ignited as you came into being continues to follow you at every turn, dampened by red-carpeted footfall, step after step after step. Though you can't see the pathway clearly just yet, it remains there, in latent expectation like Michael Jackson paved street squares, waiting for your weight to trigger illumination of your brilliance. When you burst onto the scene, I hope to lay waste vindictive and stereotypical insinuations about the freshness of meat wrapped with a similar organ to the one that encases me, encases you too. The persistence and perniciousness of the negative reviews based on nothing but the biases of the belligerent at first made me think them jealous of us at our grooviest. Rather, it came to me as blindingly obvious as a Rodney King beating that the only groove determined fit to our purpose is the one we fit into at the end of the road. When I reflect on some of the first sounds at volume that you ever heard, I recall that they were the strains of music composed from a multiplicity of multicultural sonic collisions, synthesizing the Caribbean reggae and calypso, African soukous, and American jazz and R&B performed within your muffled earshot, layered with hip-hop and spoken word, was a multi-ethnic grouping of stage players tied together in melodic and harmonic ecstasy. Still, I can't let go of the belief that where you exist in the shade of judgment, a less harsh one than the one attached to me will be bestowed upon you. Caramel is preferable in the grand flow of things. Chocolate is best in behind bars. My fear is that in your yearning for acceptance in a world not always kind to your kind, you'll discover that your value is not treasured like the purest gold, but buried like our history in underfunded archives, mold-infested basement trunks, dusty attics, and long-forgotten photo albums. To allow them to forget is to remove any basis upon which forgiveness can find purchase. To buy peace, the obstinate gatekeepers who worry about keeping us in our place must be cleared away. To make room for what you bring to bear is a grisly task that our brown-toned predecessors in this polar place have achieved with their dignity and self-respect intact. You are the bearers of the lit torches of their legacies. We must trust you and your compatriots with the task of keeping their flames burning bright in every place where their transformational bonfires lit up our country. We know you will not disappoint your ancestors. So thank you so much. Just small bits and pieces, different types of energy and feel in this book. I am really hopeful that you've enjoyed what you've heard and that you're going to enjoy reading all the rest of it afterwards, but after you get your own copy. We also have copies of the Africa anthology that I put out 3 years ago. And I'm really excited and hopeful that you will take those words, that you will see the beauty of our experiences as they've been written up in those books and the other books that are available for sale tonight, and that you will continue to come and support and hear and amplify the voices that you've heard and feel through this process today. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, open micers. You guys were amazing. Mr. Gregory, thank you. And I have to shout out to the partners of the show, Ajax Public Library, What's Your Story Author Services, African Anthology of Canada. We just want to say thank you, guys. And also, I want to send a shout out to St. Francis Center. Thank you, staff, for making tonight possible. I offer big up my husband, Gary. Thank you, guys. Thank you, audience. Without you guys, we wouldn't have nobody to share one word with. So thank you guys for showing up. We really appreciate you guys coming. Oh, that's my time I'm set for Gregory, and he finished before the time, so thank you. Thank you, Gregory, for being on time. Thank you, guys. So what we're gonna do, honestly, me a big no, because we're not black people. And I have a tendency to just maybe don't come back, or when I come back 20 minutes later. But what I'm telling you, I'm asking you, I'm hoping that my pretty face will make you guys all return, but we're gonna have a question and answer session with Gregory and with Tracy. And any question you guys have, write it down because you might forget. And come back and let's just, what you call him, put them on the stage per se, right? So we're gonna have a little 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes intermission, and then we return with question and answer. Thank you. Thank you guys for not leaving. I stand up right at the door for barricade, you know, because I refuse to let anyone want to leave without this session. I just want to say thank you guys again. I hope you guys had a little bit of party here and there and buy a couple of books. Yeah? So this is the, what you call this, the
fireside chat.
The fireside chat. So if you guys have any questions, you guys make sure you guys write them down so you guys can remember. I just have a couple of questions for you guys, and then the rest I'm gonna leave it onto the audience because they're special. And they are special, right? Okay. When I read both of you guys' bio, there's mention of mental health. I take mental health is a way we want to be. We want to have mental health. But the thing that we don't want to have is mental illness. That's what we don't want. But we all want to have mental health. And I know in the Black community, mental illness is a hush-hush. We don't want to talk about it. If someone said them kind of feel a certain way, we tend to be labeled as madman or madwoman, right, in the Black community. So I want to know, how do you guys find that courage to tackle mental illness in your poems or in your creative pieces? I'm gonna ask Tracy.
Okay, thank you, Judith. So mental illness is very common in the Black community, and yes, we know that it's a taboo, and a lot of times we tend to not get the help as Black people that, when we should. There are a lot of resources out there, and I remember doing a poem for Black mental health in the city of Toronto, and the statistic shows that only like 30% of Black people really seek resources for their mental health, right? So when it comes to me, I'll just bring it back to poetry again. The challenges that I've had, I've always been shy. I'm not shy. I mentioned that, always been shy, always been reserved. And it had a lot to do with how I saw myself. There's this thing they call, what's that word? When you, imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, right? So I had a lot of that I'm not good enough, So it started with me doing a lot of self-care, just, and knowing that I had a good support system around me. And that's one thing I would encourage people to do. Just make sure you have a good support system. Even if it's one person that you can reach out to, you can call, you can talk to, that's very, very important in your life. And that's something that I cherish and I treasure, that I have a good support system around me. A few friends, my husband, and my family. So make sure you have a great support system and find something that you love, Poetry does it for me. I go into my journal and I write on my thoughts, how I feel, and then I would go back, revert to those thoughts that I would have written a few days, few weeks later, and sometimes that's how a lot of my great poems are born. So I would encourage you, seek the resources. They are available. Have a great support system, and find something that you love, and of course, take rest. So that is the way that I tackle mental health.
Yeah, so for me, I've
been involved with mental health advocacy since 2007. So this is like an ongoing and a very serious part of my life. And I think when it comes to addressing mental health and mental illness within the Black community, there's often certain themes that come up. Number one, we can't deal with these therapists and psychoanalysis and all the rest of it, because it's some like Obia Babylon system bull stuff, you know? So we can't deal with it. It comes from like white Western ways and it's not meant for us. So that's the one thing. Ironically, another thing that comes up is that you need Jesus, which is hilarious because the modern day conception of Christianity was formed by the same white people who formed the thoughts around psychotherapy. So I just find that ironic. And, you know, and then some people will say it's about, you know, your diet, and it's about, you know, you have to stay active and you have to maintain the connection to your ethnic heritage and, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. And what I say to people is mental wellness is about all of that. None of those things in and of themselves are necessarily going to get you to where you need to go. I think an openness to taking in any and all of those things that are going to help you to be able to cope beyond, you know, your social situation, what's happening in your work, what's happening in your family, et cetera, that all of those things can come together and be helpful in that regard. And so I think that we should not shy away from finding help, from gathering those resources, and combine them with our belief systems, and combine them with the way that we eat and move and all the rest, and combine it with our, you know, our ideas about how we self-realize and how our self-concept and self-esteem work. All of those things all tied together in forming a mentally well person. And so I think that we as Black people need to have more of those kinds of conversations, saying that you're not wrong, and you're not wrong, and you're not wrong, but all together, we can all find a path that works for each of us by taking whichever balance of all of those influences works for the person.
Thank you. You talk about imposter syndrome. I know that's one thing that I also struggled with, and I'm still trying to get out of that. And I know it has a lot to do with my upbringing, because honestly, I never have nobody to tell me, say, I was capable of doing anything. I was actually sitting down thinking about it, and I was thinking, most of the time, I only hear some don'ts. Most of the time, I only hear negative things. It was never anything positive. So what else are you going to get from but struggle with imposter syndrome? Even when somebody tell you as you get older that, my goodness, you are good, it's like, I lie them, I tell you, no, that can't be real. No, man, I'm not, you're good, because me can't hear what I'm hear. Even though in your heart you know there's something special about you, you know? But I know where I got that positive thought was something, just a spiritual thing within me tell me I was capable. And that's why I sit down right just in front of you guys, a question uno, because you guys are amazing too, okay? But yes, thank you guys for sharing that. My other question is, today's theme is to remind us to spring forward. Step in the sunshine, even when it rains, if a step to spring forward. What are some ways are you springing forward, whether creatively, personal, and can share like a bit of personal something, you know? But what are you guys doing to spring forward?
So briefly, I think for me, doing this, the BlackLit Durham, and running this program and this project is something that I'm doing to spring forward. Something else that happened is that I was recently the recipient of a grant from Veterans Affairs Canada to do a literary arts-based commemorative online project that will capture the stories and the lives and the experiences of the members of the No. 2 Construction Battalion, the historic Black unit in the war.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting, something I'll be working on towards Emancipation Month 2026.
Wow.
So that is a very exciting project. I'm continuing to write. I want to put together one more collection of poetry, and I'm working on my next 4 or 5 books simultaneously. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. And very, very soon, if you are a fiction writer, you are going to hear the call that comes from Renaissance Press for African Anthology 2, which is going to focus on fiction writers. So that call is imminent, like literally like within days, that call will go out for people to submit their short stories, to be in a collection that is similar to the Perspectives of Black Canadian Poets collection that we've already put together.
Yeah, well, Tracy, you can't spring forward. Isn't that about there now?
Yes, what am I doing to spring forward? So I'm working on quite a few things, and before I go on to tell you what I'm working on, I've just recently transitioned full-time into my business, you
Nice.
know. I did.
For you.
Yes, worked 14 years at a bank, and then I worked 6 years at a company here, Rogers. So that's a total of like 20 years, you know, wow. So I've transitioned in February to doing my business full-time and doing poetry full-time as well. So I'm counting on the support of my community. Help me to spring forward. To piggyback off of Greg, I also am a recipient of a grant from Ontario Arts Council where I am doing a collective with an artist, a musician, as well as a singer. So we will be doing a project called More Than Words. So it will be coming out within the next, 6 months or so. So I'm looking forward to that. That's one of the ways I'm springing forward, and to see how else I can get more funding to include other people, other artists, and see how we can create projects and blend our artistry together. So I'm really looking forward to that. Spring forward, I want to rest. I've been going to bed late.
Right?
2 a.m. I want to spring forward and rest. You find that time to rest. Go to bed by 9 p.m. That's not gonna happen. Yes, but you know what? That's one of the main things that when talking about spring forward, I wanna rest. Right? I do have a lot of projects, and I have some other events coming up as well. Collaboration. So I'm looking forward to that and to rest. So stay tuned, and also please follow me on Instagram. And I always beg of the support of my community, whether it's just saying hi, just send a message. I need that support. We all need that support of each other, right? We need that. So let's bring forward together. Thank you.
Of course. I forgot to mention about your tea.
Yes, thank you.
I met
Judith.
Tracy many, many years ago, and I met her through the tea, and you had poetry and the tea together. So tell them a little bit more about your tea company.
Yes. So the name of the company is called Poet. So there's a play on word, pour the tea, and poet. How that started was a few years ago. I invited a few friends at home, and I would serve them, tea that I would purchase at a supermarket, and that was where I started to recite my poetry. The thing about me, I just want to stray a little bit. If I don't have a platform, I create a platform for myself, right? So, and I'm going to encourage you to do that. Create your platform. So right in my living room, I would invite my friends, and I would perform for them and serve them tea. So they enjoyed the experience so much that I said, you know what, I need to find a way of how to package this, to share this with the world. So I decided to get some of the herbs from my home country in Grenada. I reached out to this huge tea distributor in Toronto. They don't even deal with small businesses, but listen, I'm persistent until they gave me a sales agent who was from Barbados. So she's like, oh, I'm definitely going to help you, So she's been like sort of like a counselor to me for all those years, doing the teas. And so she helped me get set up with the different the herbs, and there's also a herbalist from Grenada that we contacted as well, just to make sure the teas align with each other, the different herbs align with each other, so they can create that effect, the benefits, the calm, the focus, the balance, the tea, so you can really give customers the benefits So I wanted to find a way of how to package that, and that is how Poet was born, right? So I took that experience from home, from the living room, serving teas to my friends and to my family, and reciting poems. Behind the packaging of each tea, you would see excerpts of my poems there as well. And so you get to enjoy the tea and enjoy, some of my poetry. Yeah.
Yes, beautiful. And she have some outside there too. So remember,
Yes.
dig in the pocket and go there and buy a couple, okay? Yes. Anyways, it's now turn to you guys. Any questions?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
And thank you all. This has been amazing. I've come to a number of these events and always have a good time, and everyone is always better. The next one is better. The next one is better. So I just love this.
Growth.
And I think my question is kind of answered in the moment that we're in here as community. But what I'm thinking about as a fellow Black writer and being very aware of the political time that we're in, what we're seeing happening, our neighbors to the south and in other parts of the world, where the gains that we have made as Black folks are being very much infringed upon and being taken or threatened to be taken back. And art is a very critical part of that. So we have a collective like this where we have the space to be here together, but I'm just wondering for both of you, are you cognizant of what may happen here? And what are you thinking about in terms of how do we push back against that? So I don't know if those are some of the thoughts you've had recently as we've seen things happening and wondering about how that might impact us up here. But obviously, BlackLit Durham, I'm gonna keep coming here until somebody tells me I can't come anymore. But aside from this space, have you thought about any other things where, whether it's building community or in the projects that you're doing to ensure that we kind of continue to have a voice?
Good question.
I think a good platform, online, that's one platform that I have not tackled. It can really create a broader reach for our community as well, doing Instagram Lives. I just want to go back during COVID. A great part of my community, poetry community, was formed through Instagram, right? So a lot of Black people in the US, the UK, in Canada as well. A lot of my fellow poets that I met in Toronto Poetry Slam and so on, we met online. So I think if we can solidify that virtual, it can bring a lot of us together, and we can experience similar, in person is always better, right? Because we need that connection, that contact, but it can really help us to create a broader outreach, for people who maybe don't want to come in person or so. So I think that's one way that I want to tackle, doing online, doing virtual readings, coaching, with regards to poetry. There are probably youth. I went to a school, a Toronto Catholic District School Board, and do a Black History Month interaction and performance in February. And a teacher came up to me, after 15 years, she's teaching, and she said, I write poetry too, but I just don't have the courage to, but I'm like, you're a teacher. And she said, I don't have the courage, so I like these platforms and so on. So we just have to make sure we find ways to keep doing this. Greg, this is amazing. Keep doing this, so that we can pull people in and solidify what we have as Black people, right? Because yes, it is being threatened, but as Alicia Keys say, no, it's not the time to throw away DEI. She did say that.
She did. And that's good because I work in DEI, so please don't throw me away too. I think that there are many different avenues that are available to us. Number one, it's something that I've been in discussions with some friends and associates and with my fiance about, let's figure out putting together different groups of writers and artists in order to encourage their craft. And so if there are folks within those groupings that are interested in addressing the larger geopolitical environment as well, having them come together, sharing their writings with others, having them encourage and getting that feedback on what they're creating, and and shaping it and honing it so that it becomes sharper, stronger, more impactful, more creative, more artistic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's like one way that we can do that. One, obviously, continuing to be here in BlackLit Durham and in this space, and continuing to build community structure and support around this series and around that as well. Also, amplifying the voices within the Black community who are speaking out currently about what's happening. And there are many strong voices out there who are expressing themselves on these particular issues. And I think the other thing is that we should never forget, in the process of pulling together Black people in a sense of community and having that unity of strength and articulation, also remembering that there are other communities that are struggling in their own ways as well. Indigenous communities, other communities of color, LGBTQ plus folks, different types of communities who are going to be targeted, migrant communities especially, and how can we work across community boundaries, and I use the word boundaries very, very loosely, in order to talk about, well, what are the actual broader, more universal commonalities around which we can all rally and push back against some of the issues that are going to be negatively impacting folks from those disparate and from that variety of communities. Mm-hmm. So we can operate on a bunch of different levels, at the local level, at the national level, at the intercommunity level, at the interfaith level, whatever that looks like. There's many ways that we can push back.
Yeah, and don't let fear. We just can't let fear stop us. We just have to keep going. Mm-hmm. Keep performing, keep creating our art and sharing it.
That's right.
And even if we have to go behind, what they call it, back door, and sneak in and sneak out, we have to keep going. We can't allow fear and bullies to stop us.
Yes. Right? And one other quick thing about that, if that's something you're interested in and you want to connect with us, go on to blacklitdurham.com and send us a message. Let us begin that process of working together.
Yes. Any more questions?
Yeah, I had one for both of you. This is a very topical discussion that we had here, and I can go on about that myself, but in the interest of time and everything, I'll just ask a question. Now, for both of you, how do you give birth to poetry, and how does it take itself into life? What happens in your life? How does that happen?
It's funny, because one of the things that you were saying was that, you didn't choose poetry, poetry chose me, right? And I have a piece that's called Sanctify, and one of the lines in that poem is, because these words are coming from far beyond me, I had the task to write them down and share faithfully. That's how I feel about it. It's it is a gifting to which I was ordered by Providence to do something useful with it, because that's my piece. And everybody has their little piece. Whatever it is that you're good at, that's the thing you should be doing out there. If you're good at needlepoint, do needlepoint. If you're good at engineering, do engineering. If you're good at poetry, do poetry. Whatever that looks like, whatever it is, you should be doing that and sharing it and teaching it to others and encouraging others who have that interest to do it, whatever that looks like. Because that is, I think, at the root of what allows us to be the most human form of our personal humanness. And then that gives us the methodology that we need as a person to connect with other people. Because that's that thing that we can give to others that will draw them into who we are. And then we can be drawn into what they are by what they have to share. And that's how you build strength in community. And so for me, poetry is a gifting. It is an assignment. And I need to pass the final exam. So I'm working every day to pass that final exam.
Yeah, so for me, poetry, it's not a separation, right? It's part of me. It's not something that I do part-time. It's 24/7. It's throughout the day. So as I go about my day, based on my experiences that I have with my son, with my family, with my community, I write. Whether I write it in my head and later on then I put it on paper, I write as fast as the day goes by. How do I feel about this chair that just moved? How do I feel about the noise that I'm hearing outside, Am I distracted by it? Do I allow it to distract me, or do I just allow myself to just be present with it? As I go about my daily life, I write. There's no specific time or specific season for me to write. I write my conclusions before my beginning. I go to the middle, I scrap and I come back, and I have really no rhythm as it relates to writing. I do have a process, right? But it's not something that I can tell you that, okay, at 2 a.m. in the morning I get up and I write, this is my writing time. No, there's no separation from me. And that's how your art should be. Any art that you have should be part of you, wholly and solely, every day, 24/7. And once you let it be that, let it live within you, you live with it, then you'll be able to birth all those beautiful pieces. You'll be authentic. You'll see the real you coming out. All your expressions, all your emotions, they will flow. You'll become one with it. So don't separate it from your life. Just a whole. Let it be part of you, and that's what I do. I allow poetry to live in me. As I said, I didn't choose it. It chose me, and I act on it.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Me wish me was like you, though. Go ahead.
How you mean? There's our next question.
I thought something was going wrong with me for a while, for a very long time. At the age of 6, these songs, these things keep coming, and I keep memorizing it because I couldn't spell properly at that age. And I continue to just memorize all these things coming to me. My family say I'm different. I said, yes, I am. But for many years doing this, my question is, it's really a gift, I realize now. Because it's so much material. And I'm so into it. So into it. It feels as though it wakes me up at night. I don't sit and say I have to do it. It just comes. I was running away from it for a while until COVID showed up. It came right back again. And it's not stopping. It's so much that I feel it's time for me to show myself. So that's what I'm doing now. So thank you, Tracy. It chose me.
That's what community is
It did
about.
choose me.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And that's amazing. Yeah, it shows this woman some love. It's amazing. I'll just say something really quickly there because it just reminded me that last night, sitting up talking about things right before bed, and my fiance and I are like getting ready to go to bed or whatever. And then, of course, I get a line in my head. Mm-hmm. You get that line in your head. I'm gonna go get my computer.
Write it down.
Go down, start writing it. 1,100 words and a couple hours later, and it's the middle of the night. And I've still, it comes when it comes. Yeah. But that's the gift, right? You have to listen and tap in when it comes. And I can totally identify with, you're just constantly writing. Your life is writing. Like you're walking through the world and lines are writing in your head. You're not even doing it. It's just happening. That's the gift. Honor the gift. And I'm so grateful to see you embracing that. It's amazing. Thank you. And we have another question down here. One more. Okay, one more.
My question is very simple. What makes a set of words poetry vis-a-vis lyrics of a song or narrative?
Well, there are formal definitions for different types of poetry, right? But poetry has evolved. Spoken word has evolved, right? It can be anything. And you notice a lot of my poetry, I don't rhyme, right? There are poems that you can rhyme, there are poems you don't have to rhyme, but it comes from you, right? You can just sit there and have some words, say, your wife is sitting next to you. Your wife's smile is like the sun rays, that greets your eyes, right? Anything that you feel, there's no standard, no definition no one cannot judge what you write when it comes to poetry, when it comes to spoken word, right? So I'm not able to tell you that but there is formal, different types of poetry, right? But me, I do not follow the standard way of doing poetry. I don't. I string my words together like I said, when they come to me. And I notice a lot of poets do that too, even singers, Devon, right? Your songs are almost like poems within those songs. And there's nothing formal about your writing. Eli, just the same way, there's nothing formal about your writing, right? You write, those thoughts come to you based on how you feel, maybe based on an experience you've had, and you put those together and you deliver it. So it's not something that I can say, okay, this and this is poetry. But if you want us to find a way to coach, is that your intention of the question? To see how we can coach maybe younger people as to how they can do poetry? You just want to know our idea?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
Yes. I think he's just curious.
I mean, you have the lyrics of a song, you have narrative, and then you might have poetry. So what's the nuance and the difference between the different things? What makes what you write poetry and not narrative, or not the words of a song or the lyrics of a song?
Perspective.
Yeah.
Right. So let me tell you how I do it when I do workshops with young people. I would say to young people, listen, you go and you get your next game system. You get a Nintendo Switch or an Xbox or something, right? It shows up. You have to take that item out of the box, and then inside there's a little paper pamphlet in there, your user guide, your user manual. So what ended up happening when that thing was put together is that somebody had to sit down in the room, look at this thing, understand how it works, and figure out, how can I put the best way for you to get started using this thing in words so that you can just pull it out of the box, read this, and get going. And so what I say to these young people is that in order to do that, I believe that all poetry begins as part of a creative process where you think about a thought or reflect on something or ask a question. You write down what you're finding out, right? And that is the very, very basics of writing a poem, the very basics. However, writing that user guide uses exactly the same creative process. You got to think about the thing, then you got to write about the thing, and then you got to share it with somebody else and hope that they can get it and be able to use the thing. So I say to them, everything that is written is poetry because it's all created the same way. And then I say to them, you're here in the school, and you have assignments that you've got to write, you have like little work things that you do, you've got your notebooks and stuff, and you're reading and you're writing and you're analyzing so you all are writing every day, right? Yes. Using your brains to create ideas and thoughts and responses and writing them down, yes. So if everything that is written is poetry, and you all are writing every day, what does that make you? Right? So that's how I approach the idea of what is poetry. We don't need to break it down any simpler than poetry is the result of a creative process where you think about something and write down what you thought.
Yeah. And how it makes you feel. Right?
And how it makes you feel.
Thoughts,
right?
Emotional. Thought, your emotion, imagination, and rhythm.
Absolutely.
So that's what my definition of a poet.
Your microphone.
Oh, sorry. A lot of mercy. Forget some of this. So a thought, your emotion, imagination, and a rhythm.
Yes.
How do you really want it to feel?
Yes.
Right? Because most of my poem is true from the Jamaican language. I try writing it in English, but for somehow, some way, it just doesn't come out as sweet, right? Who would even thought of writing a poem about dirty gal, right? So it came to me that way. The thought, imagination, and what sort of emotion do I want to put in it? I know some I want to put it in a Jamaican language, so it'll give it a certain kind of rhythm, right? So that is what a poetry, or I think, builds up or make up a poem.
And it's
Right.
about how you connect, and probably that's the way you connect with your audience. For me, it's all about connection, right? When I stand on the stage, I want to be able to connect with the people that are in front of me.
So that's when
And-
you're presenting it.
Yes,
Yes.
but when you're writing your poem, you write your poem like me. When I write my poem, I make sure that it can engage the people, right? So my engagement does not start when I'm presenting. My engagement starts in my writing, right? So I would write a poem for myself, and then I would go back and revisit it. And can this poem make someone laugh? Can it make them cry? Does it make them, how does it make them feel? It makes me feel that way, but how will it make someone else? So then I go back until yes, you know what, that's it. I read it to my husband and I read it to someone else and I said, how does that make you feel? I always ask him that question, how does that make you feel? Then when he tells me, you know what, it really touched my soul, and he would give me, for example, he would state this line means this to me. I'm like, I got it. So connection is everything for me when I'm writing. I must have some level of engagement. I know for a fact that when I stand on the stage, that's not when my engagement I know from the very beginning, from the moment I stand up here, I will touch someone's heart. I have to ensure I have that in my poem.
So that's the emotional aspect of it. Yeah.
And there's one other thing that I would add to all of that, and that is to remember in the process that when you're in that process of creation, you are ultimately at the first level creating for yourself, right? And for me, I feel like I am channeling, right? Like whatever that inspiration is that's coming from the creative process, the imagination that is imprinted on whatever I'm working on. So I'm channeling all of that and I'm putting it down and I'm working it through and I'm thinking about what the impact is and I'm thinking about emotional responses and all the rest of it. But ultimately at the beginning, the poem is just for me. I'm just writing it for me because I feel moved to write it in that moment. But what we always have to remember as artists, right, because poets are artists, and art is meant to move people and to elicit some type of emotional response, or even anger, rage, whatever the response is that it evokes. But we always have to remember when we write that poem, after we've finished it and we've done all the work with it and honed it and made it look exactly the way that we feel really good about it. The moment you share that work with someone else, that work is no longer yours, and the universe will do whatever it is going to do with it.
Yeah.
And you can have all of the intentions you might want in the world for that particular poem, but the universe may look at your piece very differently than how you look at it. And it's going to do what it's going to do. But ultimately, a great poem will make you feel something, no matter what that is.
Amen.
Ask one last comment. Is that okay?
Yeah, quick.
Yeah.
Your mic is working.
Yeah. You know, for me, how I see poetry is I see it the same as nature. You know, when you watch a waterfall and you watch the waterfall, you watch an animal, how it moves. All of that to me is poetry in movement. You know, and so to me, poetry starts in nature. You know, and once we connect with that nature, we can bring that through. And as you say, the channeling and whatever. I'm not a poet by any means, right? But you know, I can see my wife doing what she does, and I can see a lot of what she does reflected in the life we live in nature.
It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. It done it all over. You guys were amazing, honest to goodness. I hope that, when is the next one, Greg? June 18th. I'm going to want to see the whole of the face again in here, right? And more. Bring more. Bring your friends, your cousins, your aunties, your sisters. Just bring everybody in.
Yes.
It's a nice space for us, right?
And the June show is our anniversary show. That will be 3 years.
3 years.
That we have been doing BlackLit Durham for this community. And we want to have a party. Let's celebrate. So everybody bring everybody. We'll have a party.
Yes. Thank you guys so much again.
Thank you.
And thank you, Judith. Wonderful job by
Yes,
Judith.
great. Great MC.